Hey, everybody, and welcome to the HERstory Collaborative. My name is Jen Buck, and I'm your host here in the collab. I'm a professional speaker, executive strategist, author of 5 books, and a nonprofit founder. My speaking and training business is focused on advocating, activating, and amplifying high-performing women. And that's what the HERstory Collaborative podcast and webcast is all about. Trailblazing women who are changing their little corner of the world. And today's guest is no different. Her name is Demetra Presley, and she is a trailblazer. Demetra is someone who I have admired for years because I've seen the way she has impacted countless students around our state. She's the executive director and founder of Go With The Flow, which is a nonprofit organization. Now, Go With The Flow was created in 2017 after Demetra learned about a teacher who started to keep bags filled with menstrual hygiene products in her classroom because she was frequently approached by her students requesting these period products. After reaching out to local parents and school staff, Demetra's concerns were confirmed. School budgets and their restrictions did not allot for an adequate supply of menstrual hygiene products. And these students had a limited supply that was available to them. And it was often provided at the expense of the school. So that's when Go With The Flow was born. Demetra now has helped students all over the state. She is constantly growing and things are just really popping over there. I'm so proud of my friend. So welcome, Demetra, to the collab.
Thank you, Jen. And I am so honored to be here and to be a guest on your podcast and to be among the amazing women that you are speaking to about the things that they are doing in their community.
Oh, you're the best. I have just loved what you do and how many students are impacted by you. Tell us a little bit about really your driving force behind this, maybe the graduation rates, some of what our listeners and viewers may not know about how dire this need really is.
Absolutely. So a lot of people are not familiar with this issue called period poverty. And period poverty in a nutshell is when people do not have access to the things that they need to manage their menstrual cycle safely and with dignity. When people are familiar with period poverty, they often think about it in the context of it happening somewhere else. So we know that it takes place in countries like Africa. We know that it takes place in countries like India, but people don't necessarily think about it taking place in the United States. And they certainly don't think about it taking place in Arizona. But what folks are often surprised to find out is that 1 out of 5 students in the United States will miss school or class because they do not have access to period supplies. So when we look at that on a big picture level, that means that 1 out of 5 students every single day is missing out on the opportunity to learn, to engage with their teachers and peers, to be able to receive mentoring and collaborate with their fellow students, all because they lack access to a very simple yet basic hygiene item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's incredible when you think about what that really looks like, when you've got 1 out of 5 students missing and how that impacts graduation rates. I mean, if you're missing a week of school a month throughout your entire high school career, this has to have a huge impact on what happens at the end of their high school career and whether or not they're able to graduate.
Absolutely. Not only an impact on your education, but absolutely an impact on what type of education you receive when you are able to go to school. Are you able to focus on what you're there to do, which is to learn and to engage when you aren't having your mind weighed down by not having access to pads and tampons? There's been a little bit of research that has been done on this issue as far as the mental health ramifications of what happens when folks don't have access to period supplies. And we know that when folks don't, they have increased levels of stress, of depression, and anxiety. Wow. Everyone should be able to function in a dignified manner and in a respectable way every single day, no matter what type of function their body is engaging in. And especially when it's a natural function, it's a normal function, it's a healthy function. There's no reason why we should have students here who are not able to receive an education because of that reason.
Yeah, my gosh. I mean, it's the implications are so far reaching. I hadn't even thought about the social impact, the future impact. I mean, this is huge. So, how have you found that the schools are responding to you on the outside coming in to talk about, functions that are happening inside the school?
Absolutely. So we have had such a positive response from the schools that we have partnered with. It was not uncommon for us to talk to staff members and they say, yeah, we absolutely have this happening. I know I have students here who do not attend school because they don't have access to period products. But unfortunately, because this is such a stigmatized issue, and it is surrounded with so much shame and so much embarrassment, how are we able to address something that people don't feel comfortable talking about? How can we provide resources to schools to meet a need that their students are having if students in particular and the population in general do not feel comfortable talking about this issue in a public space? It's a very complicated matter. We have not only the problem of, well, I need period products and I don't have access to them, but now you also want me to share this,
Yeah.
my lack of access and something that my body is engaging in that I have been unfortunately perhaps taught is embarrassing or shameful or that I shouldn't share with people that I attend school with. It's a very worrisome situation that a lot of students find themselves in. And it's not just students. We have half of the population in the United States, half of the population in the world, that also has to deal with this very same issue of lack of access to period products. And unfortunately, we are not any closer to being able to address the need, what that need really is, and what that looks like until we can get to the point where we can start having these conversations.
Absolutely. And I can't figure out why this is still so stigmatized, why we are still so afraid to talk about this. Breastfeeding is another one, right? I mean, we are just so afraid, and it's been weirdly sexualized. So
Mhm.
nobody really wants to touch it. And yet it's something that, my gosh, is just the most natural, healthy thing, like you said. And I just love that you're able to create such a big awareness around this. I've been a part of the delivery packs with you, and I've been able to drop these off at the schools. And I've been absolutely blown away at how welcoming and grateful and excited people are to get these period packs. Tell everyone tuning in what you do to make these more than just boxes of pads or tampons.
Yes. So all of the schools that we work with, we customize the period care packs that are provided to them. And the period care packs themselves are just bags. They are small bags that have an assortment of pads, tampons, and panty liners in them. And we work with the schools to determine what product their students are asking for and who these packs are going to go to. Once that has been done, the schools can receive as many period packs as they need, as many times as they need it during the duration of the school year. And I think that that is one of the things that the schools are most excited about, having a consistent and stable supply
Yeah.
on hand, because that directly translates over to their students. Once students know that they can go to a nurse, they can go to a teacher, they can go to a social worker, they can go to their coaches, they have this assortment of school employees that they can go to if they need period products, and they can receive them without any questions being asked, without feeling like they have to explain why they need it. There's no embarrassment associated with it. We try to take what is perhaps a negative situation and make it as positive for them as it can be. So that way they know, this isn't something that I have to feel embarrassed about. And this is something that I can bring to the attention of those around me to have this need met. And that is one of the things that we want to make sure is conveyed to the students that we provide these products to.
Yeah. And I love how cute you always have them in some kind of cute, artsy bag that looks more like a lip gloss bag, right? Or something like
Yes.
that, it never really looks like, hey, I've got sanitary napkins in here. It's just some cute little makeup bag, and they're darling. And I love that because I know that the sense of shame and humiliation must be high for these students. There's layers of how this can be humiliating for them, and the way that you present them and the gift itself, it's just so endearing because it's thinking about carrying those out of the nurse's office and what that must feel like, right? It's not like they're carrying things out in the open in their hand. They're carrying a cute little bag that looks like it could have lip gloss on it, or something like that. And I love that you thought about that.
Absolutely. We know that, menstruation is something that happens. It's not a secret. Yes, it can be private, how you manage it, the products that you use, what menstruation looks like for your body, but it's not a secret. We know that that is something that bodies engage in. But unfortunately, again, because of the stigma that surrounds this, there is that issue or that feeling of embarrassment and folks being ashamed. And we try to do what we can to decrease and minimize that, which is why we package the products in the bags that we do. Not only because we want a student to, one, have access to as many products during one encounter as possible. So that way they don't have to keep making repeated trips to school staff. And that minimizes the time that they spend outside of the classroom. But it also gives them those seeds of future thought, because now we have a student being provided a resource that they can use over and over and over again. And we see that happen with so many students at our schools. Our schools would tell us, we have students that come in, they have the bag that we gave them a month or two ago, and they say, I just need more products provided in this bag.
Oh, I love that.
And they're able to do that. And it's great. It's again, that school being able to meet a need of their student that does have an impact on their education and on their ability to receive an education, as well as that student knowing that they have some place that they can go that is embarrassment-free, shame-free, stigma-free, to get resources or to get the things that they need.
Yeah, it takes a village.
It does. Absolutely.
A village. I just love it. And I am just, if people have been tuning in, they hear me talk about your nonprofit at the end of every single show because of the sponsorship. And I'm always trying to get people involved. And I just want to say it again that, you're always looking for community support. You're always looking for people who are willing to chip in, however that looks, at whatever level. And I just love what you've done. It's just an incredible impact. And I don't think we all get to make an impact necessarily, a real serious impact in our life. And you've done that, which is
absolutely
remarkable.
Yes. And that has been one of the most amazing things to see. When Go With the Flow originated, it started as a GoFundMe account and a Facebook page. That was our beginning. And because of the support that we have received from the community, it has allowed us to become a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And it has allowed us to expand out into as many schools that we do. While schools are our primary focus and while students are our primary audience for making sure that products are being provided to them, we also do a lot of work in the community in general, because we have individuals and families who are unsheltered or who are low income, who struggle every single month with this necessity. If you come from a large family and you have multiple menstruators in your background, or in your household, that can be a large bill.
Yeah.
Or, if you are someone who's making minimum wage and you have yourself to provide for and kids to provide for, oftentimes folks are having to decide between groceries and bills or menstrual products.
Yes.
And, unfortunately and sadly, that is a harsh reality, of the situation that folks are living in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know for almost 2 years, you helped our nonprofit when we were helping asylum seekers. You were providing all of those sanitary napkins to us and on different levels. I think we had sort of a few different things going on there, but I know that you were helping us with that too. And that was 48,000 people in a matter of 2 years, just under 2 years. So I think the work you do is extraordinary. Were you always this little girl that wanted to help people? Was this always something you thought you'd do in life, help out those that needed it? Like, who were you and where did this come from? It's incredible.
I think it's always been part of who I am. My parents, and especially my mother, she was very philanthropic as far as, making sure that there was something that she was doing to give back to the community in some way. And I think that having that example really demonstrated to me what it means to be of service to your community and what it means to want to give back and to meet a need, whatever that need is, and in whatever capacity that you can.
Yeah.
And so, in school, throughout my career choices, I've always have went back to what can I do to be of service to others, and what am I doing to give back to those around me. Mm-hmm. And that's what Go with the Flow has allowed me to do. And it's been an amazing journey,
yeah,
so to speak, of the people I've been able to meet and the opportunities I've been able to have just because of this work that we're trying to have accomplished here.
Yeah. So when things are tough, now I have been over to your headquarters for your nonprofit, and I've seen how beautiful it is and all the supplies. I've been on the phone with you when truckloads and pallets are being dropped off. So when things are tough, how do you stay focused and motivated? Because I know there are times when you're the only person there that's putting all of those pallets away. How do you stay driven and focused?
I think it's just remembering to take small steps. In my head, I have the vision of where I want us to be. And that vision, whenever you have a vision of what your end goal is or what the large picture is, it can be very overwhelming and a very daunting task to actually get there. And it's very easy to become super frustrated by it and feel like you aren't working hard enough. You're not putting enough into it. Like it's just not going to work out. When is this going to manifest itself? And so for me, it's really been breaking everything down into small, tangible steps. And that is what has allowed me to have some of our bigger goals that I wanted to have accomplished come to light and pass. And it is also what sustains me and being able to keep moving forward on a daily basis. Every step forward that you take, if it's leading you in the direction that you want to go, it's not a bad move, to make. And sometimes it's just keeping that in mind and focusing on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things in my life that I think is probably the most fulfilling thing I do is working in volunteer spaces. There's just, for me, nothing that gives me that type of filling up within my cup other than giving back to others. I mean, that's to me the greatest work I ever do. And it's also the messiest and it's the hardest and it's the stuff that hurts my body the most and all of that, right? But I think a lot of us really believe in something that we're donating our time to, giving our resources to. What would you tell people who are tuning in, who may want to get involved, who may want to start a nonprofit? It seems scary and daunting, but what would you tell people if they had this fire in their belly about really making some sustainable change? What would you tell them to do?
Right. I would say to not be afraid to use what you have available to you to get started. As I mentioned, when Go with the Flow started, it was a GoFundMe account and a Facebook page. Yeah. I did not have a board in place. I did not have 501c3 certification. I did not have a strategic plan. Yeah. There was no binder or folder of, what our first year and what our 5 years and what 10 years are going to look like. I have no degree or certification or anything, any type of background actually in nonprofit management. But what I knew was that I wanted to do something. I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I wanted to try to do something. And sometimes that desire is
Mm-hmm.
really all that you need. And I have found that working in alignment with that, the universe, as cliche as it may sound, the universe will meet you where you are at and provide those opportunities and open those doors and send people your way that will support what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. Don't feel like you have to have your A through Z plan in place, because sometimes getting to that point will be what leads you to not do anything at all. Because I could have very easily said, I don't have any of these things, so I'm not going to do anything. And there would be no resource available to students here. There would be no resource available for schools to utilize.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to go with that fire and that drive and that passion and run with it. And, fingers crossed, it turns out to be a rewarding journey like mine was. It still is. But, even if it doesn't, that doesn't mean that you should not do it, or that you shouldn't try to, try again, try something else, try, another area. You just have to keep moving forward.
I love it. I love it. And I totally believe along with you, and I don't think it's cliche. Although I'm kind of a walking, talking cliche, you know this about me. I love all my motivational phrases and all that stuff. But I also believe that when you're in alignment, that the universe will provide the next step. The next doors will open because you've chosen to step into the flow of that alignment. And I just think that that is such great advice, because so often it starts out as a community project, and before you know it, you actually have something that is much bigger than you ever thought, right? And
absolutely,
the doors just keep opening. So I love that. So Demetra, I want to ask you some really quick speed round questions that give people a chance. And so you don't have to think too hard on these, just whatever comes to mind, just go ahead and answer as we go. And I'm going to give you 10 of them. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
First question. So if you got to sit with your favorite woman at the end of a park bench for an hour, who would that be? It could be a famous person from history or someone in your life. It doesn't matter. Who would that be?
That person will always be my mom. So I would love to have that hour with her, or any amount of time actually with her. So she would for sure be my first call.
I love that. And I love what I've read about her in your book, Love Meets Life. And the story is so beautiful about just the relationship. And yes, it was just gorgeous, just gorgeous. Okay, here we go. Are you a sweet person when it comes to food, or savory?
Oh, sweet all the way. I have 2 miniature key lime pies in my refrigerator right now. Yes.
I love key lime pie.
So good.
And mini, so you feel no guilt. Oh my gosh.
No guilt.
Fabulous. Fabulous. All right. So what's your first purchase going to be when you win the Mega Millions?
Airplane tickets to somewhere remote that will put me on a beach with white sand and clear water and some type of tropical cocktail in my hands.
Absolutely. After a year of this, that is the best answer for sure. And what is your favorite book?
Oh, my favorite book. So I'm such a reader, and I have just been going through so many books since really COVID, and especially this year. So I have my top 3 so far this year are The Midnight Library, Black Buck, and The Girl with the Louding Voice. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll throw in another one of Women in Salt. So good. Ooh, so good.
What I do after each one of these broadcasts is I go and I take 2 answers that I get from 2 very specific questions, and I look them up and I add them to my list. So you just gave me 4. So that's awesome. Because I haven't read any of those. So I love to read as well. So thank you for that. It was, sort of self-serving for me to ask this question in the speed round. Okay. So what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever been given. I would say is to not underestimate yourself, and to talk to yourself as you would a friend. So when we're having those hard days and those tough times, the things that you tell yourself, if they would not be the same things that you would tell to your closest friend, you should not tell yourself that either. We hear everything that we think. We hear everything that we say to ourselves. So just being gracious and being kind with yourself.
Oh, such a fabulous answer. That's awesome. All right. So when you've got a problem, when you process, are you more of a thinker to get through it, a talker to get through it, or are you a doer to get through it?
Oh my gosh. I feel like a thinker because I have to come up with a plan first. So
Yeah.
definitely a thinker. And then I jump into doing. And then depending on what the problem is, I may throw some talking in there with some folks whose like guidance and mentoring I trust. But before I get to that point, I'm definitely going to have overthought it. And I'm probably already going to have a plan in place as well.
Just knowing you, I definitely see you as the thinker, where I'm the person that when the problem happens, my mouth starts going instantly because I process out loud. So it's just, we're all so different, you know, it's so fun to learn these things. So pepperoni on your pizza?
For sure.
Yay.
Yes.
All right, good. And what will your theme song be when your book hits the bestseller list of New York Times and you walk on stage to 30,000 people?
Oh my gosh. There is a song by Nina Simone that I absolutely love. And I cannot think of the correct title of it. I believe it's A New Day Is Coming, but I don't think that's the actual name of the song. Okay. But it would definitely be that song by Nina Simone. I think is just beautiful. And it encompasses like so perfectly when you create and then manifest things for yourself.
I love that. I'm going to look it up. That was the answer that I also write down. So I'm going to have to start looking up A New Day Is Coming, Nina Simone. So I'll have to try to Google the lyrics. Okay. Next question. Are you living past 100?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Come on, Demetra.
No, I really don't think I will.
What if I offer you a pink satin jacket?
You know what? I still don't even think I would. I don't
really.
I don't know. That's not something I really see happening.
Okay.
You know, we'll get to whatever age I need to be here for. Hope, you know, fingers are crossed. I don't know if it will be past 100. Maybe if I need to probably like shape up a little bit, maybe eat some more fruits and vegetables, take a little more vitamins, that type of thing. But you know, we'll see. Got it.
Okay. Best word to describe you.
That word has always been resilient. And I kind of like, I wish it was something more fun. But it's a good word because for me, like it just embodies strength. You know, it embodies movements, progress, just being able to keep pressing forward, despite, you know, whatever challenges may come up and that may arise. So probably not the lightest word or the funnest, but it's the one that always pops into my mind, you know, whenever I'm asked.
Yeah, it's one of my very favorite words. And as a professional speaker, it's really weird. I've got this love of words, and resilient is one of my very favorite words. It's in my top 10. And I do have a top 10, which is just bizarre, but I love words. And so resilient is just one of those that I love, love, love. My number one word is believe. It wouldn't be my answer for this question, but that just kind of tells you that I'm a lover of words. So resilient it's powerful, and I think it's great. So last question.
All right.
When I'm finish this sentence. That's what you're supposed to do here. Finish the sentence. When I'm really, really old, I hope to see.
When I'm really, really old, I hope to see. Oh my God. Is it one thing that I hope to see? There's so many things I hope to see.
Just let it fly.
I hope that by the time I'm really old, I would have seen our first woman president.
Yes.
I hope that there will be oh my God, now I can't even like think of anything. I'm like, I want to see like more. Though. It is I'm like, there's so many different like social justice movements that I hope that have come to fruition by then. You know, like menstrual equity, you know, women finally having like true, complete control over their bodies and reproductive freedom and reproductive access, you know, LGBTQ folks not constantly being under fire, and trying to have their rights eradicated, you know, climate change being addressed. Like there's so many different things that I hope to see. And, you know, I didn't think that I would get to see a lot of things that have already happened in my lifetime. So I'm excited to see what happens next.
I love that. I love that. You open the floodgates. I was going to tell you, if you can't think of anything when you're eating your key lime pie, I'm sure they're going to come, but it sounds like you just threw like 7 at me. So I think we're good. Those are all awesome. So Demetra, we're going to wrap this up, but I am so grateful for you as always. I just think you are a beacon within the community I live within. I've admired you for so long. I love calling you friend. Can you please tell people where they can find you? I'm going to go ahead and let you sort of close it out with all of your details, whatever that looks like, so that people can come and actually, be a part of what you're doing.
Absolutely. So we are heavy on social media. So you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Go With The Flow AZ. We are also online at www.gowiththeflowaz.org. On our website, you can pull up a calendar of events if you are interested in getting involved. And we also have links for you to make donations if you want to shoot some pads or tampons or panty liners over our way. If you are a school or community organization that has a need for menstrual products, on our website, you can also find the link to message us to get signed up on our distribution list as well.
Yay. Everybody get on board. This is the best good feeling kind of organization, and helping our kids is where it is all at, right? I mean, that's
Absolutely
what matters most. So thank you, my friend, for being here. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody that tuned in, I appreciate you. And as always, we will see you on the next broadcast. Take care. Bye-bye.